Hello, everyone. Long time no see. I thought that today I would just kind of talk while I draw. You'll have to excuse me if nothing of any merit actually gets drawn. That's not what this is for. So if that's what you came to see, I'm sorry. So, I've been thinking about why I do what I do. Why draw? Why draw? I've asked myself. Especially in those low moments where I'm not feeling all too confident in my abilities as an artist. I've asked myself this question. And the obvious answer, of course, is you like it. It makes you happy. Blah, blah, blah. You hope to master it someday. But I don't think that's it. Or at least that's not the only answer. I think it's because I need to at this point. It's an unbridled, unfiltered passion that I have. I'm compelled. And it doesn't matter how shitty I feel. There's some days where like I can't draw anything. It feels like I have no idea what I'm doing, where I'm going. My pencil is just not cooperating with me. I'm calling the software stupid. I'm just all kinds of things are going on, and then I'll come back the next day after attempting, mind you, for several hours and failing to make anything stick. I'll just come back the next day like that bad day didn't happen. And I never get tired of it. I never don't want to do it. No matter how frustrated and disappointed in myself I get, no matter how discouraged I get, there's never a time when I'm like, let's give up. Let's not draw ever again. I mean, I'll say it in jest. I'll say it frustratedly, but I'll never mean it. I don't know what this guy is at home. And it got me thinking about other creative outlets, other artistic things, and what it means to truly love your craft. Like what it means to get to the point where it's no longer about trying to become famous or get money or the accolades or anything like that, or it's just pure and simply, if I do not do this on a ritualistic basis, I will cease to function properly. It will start to hurt me. And that's why no matter what's going on with work or with people, I'm trying to make sure that at least sometime throughout the day I'm either behind this computer or drawing in my sketchbook. I can't, because if I go too many days without drawing, I'll go bonkers. I'll lose my mind. I can't function without it. And it's like, I don't want to. It's never, oh, well, if it's hurting you like that, shouldn't you just give it up? No, I don't want to. I have no desire to pull free from this addiction. One good scare ought to do you some good. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know why. You're compelled. Something happened in your life. Something happened to the point it just made you. Because there was a time where it was where I'd gone, I'd look up and it'd been months since I'd drawn, and I never really felt it. But now, if I go too long, I feel it. That stuff resonates with me. This turned out bad. I can probably fix it, but that's not what it's for now. You're just talking. You're just talking. Don't obsess. And I love meeting other artists. I still have my moments of getting self-conscious. Like I get real self-conscious around people who prefer realism, because even though I know it's not so much anymore, it still exists. But there's a huge stigma against people who are cartoonists not being real artists because they don't pull from reality. And I spent enough of my childhood being judged by quote-unquote real artists. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Because I believe that anyone can draw, and I believe that that artists are the masters of their mindscape, of their destiny, of whatever it is that they create, and they should be allowed to do whatever with their creations and whatever the fuck they want. I get a little impassioned about it, but I believe that there is no such thing as you have to draw this. How dare you, sir? How dare you not do the thing that I think you should be doing? I have never in my life seen such a complete and blatant disregard for the artistic form. You know, there are people who are like that, and to those people I say, fuck you. Fuck you. Because there was a time when you couldn't do anything. There was a time when you didn't hold a pencil. And you forget. You forget where you're from. You forget your place, sir and or madam. Your place is a place of encouragement. We are artists. We are united. In a sense. You know? And there's a stigma that, oh, you draw cartoons, you can't appreciate real art. No! I can appreciate realism. I just prefer to live my life in fantasy. Real world is boring and scary. So why would I want to stay there? You know, where I can escape, where I can make my art. I can make a world. That's why. This is kind of, like I said, this is gonna just be a tangent. This is just me spilling ideas, spilling my guts, basically. That's why I gravitate towards fucking cartoons and shit that talk about, oh, you're an artist and you create your own world. And I always like the idea that you're not in complete control of your world as an artist. Like, a good example is Chalk Zone, which I just had to come with the sobering realization that it was not well liked by a lot of people, and I loved it. It's like I found out that technically Hercules is a bad Disney movie, and I'm like, are you serious? And when I say bad, I mean objectively by them. You know the ominous them. But I didn't know these things. Anyway, yeah, Chalk Zone is a good example of that, where he goes in and he thinks, oh man, I'm like the god of this world, and like, no. Everyone's creations are here. You just got lucky and you're the one that can come here. But because, this is a kid's show and we're based on morals, your ability to come here is directly connected to how much of a douche you may or may not be. So, if you're too much of a douche, guess who loses their ability to use chalk? If the inhabitants don't like you, you can lose the ability to use the chalk. I just like stuff like that. I like that your creations can go beyond you. And I feel like that's something that gets lost if if you're grounded in what you think has to be real. It's so... it's not for me. But aside from that minor insecurity, I do love meeting other artists. I love sitting down and talking ideas and bouncing ideas off each other, showing sketchbooks. Trading sketchbooks is awesome. I'm always like, oh man, because I don't like showing my sketchbooks to regular people. It's another hang up. I just now kind of started getting out of that. But I have this thing where I don't like showing my sketchbook to strangers or regular people who aren't artists that just don't like it, And if you're not my friend, don't touch my sketchbook. Don't ask to see it. Like, depending on how I'm feeling, I might just be like, yeah, sure, go ahead, look. But And for those of you thinking, no, I'm never mean about it, I'm never an ass, I'm never like, no, it's sacred, you couldn't understand the contents. It's more just like, my weirdness is in here. I don't want you. And no, I've never drawn the Skeleton character before. I have no idea why I thought of him. But he is the star of this video. So, there you go. But yeah, I love seeing where other people's heads are at. I love asking people what they like to draw, what their passions are. And I can't stand it when another artist, another creative individual, period, when I ask them, who's your inspiration when it comes to this? Or what's your favorite version of that? Or how did you get into this? What inspired you? And they just say some generic answer, or they shove it off and they're like, I like everything, or I like to draw everything. And I'm like, that's not a real answer. It's not. No matter how much you think it is, it's not. And you want to know why? It's because everyone, even if you are, let's say you're super exceptional and you don't have a particular style and you do draw everything, you still have a particular style of art that speaks to you, that keeps you doing what it is you're doing. Because yeah, art is fun, but it is subjective. So if you get to the point where you're not latching on to anything and it's literally just I'm just doing it now, I don't really like any of the things I'm doing one way or another, but I'm doing it, you're gonna get annoyed, you're gonna get bored. It's like so, and I always say that if you're a friend of an artist or something, and they never tell you, like if you ask them, oh, what kind of so-and-so do you like? And their answer is everything, that means one of two things. Either, one, they actually don't know, and they have no grounded reasoning or whatever yet, and they're probably new to the craft or whatever, and that's okay and acceptable, or they've just been doing it forever and they have no reason you're about to cause them to go through some weird life-altering experience where they question everything in the reality, and up is down and black is white and dogs and cats and whatever. Or they think that their answer, which is more common that I see, their answer is too involved, too complicated, too personal, and they don't feel like you'll get it. or they feel like they'll become a bother. And they'll start getting long-winded. You'll become uninterested because you don't understand any of the stuff they're talking about. You don't understand any of the names that they're throwing out. So why bother telling you? You know? And that one I understand. I see it a lot, actually. I've met people who I know why they draw and stuff the way they do, but let's say the person right next to us, and the classmate right next to us, who's asked them the same question a million times, has literally no idea, you know, why they do the thing, because why would they? They wouldn't understand it anyway. And there's just a sense of comfort when talking to another artist, especially if they do the same medium as you. You know, because then you just feel like there's this community. You just feel like, even if he doesn't get it, if I reference something else after, he'll probably pick it up then. Or if I show it to him, he'll be receptive. You know, it's that sense of union. But I feel like you can't be afraid to tell people things, because they might not get it, but you might turn them on to something that they've never heard of before. You know, I got one of my friends into Robert Crumb, you know, and he had no idea. I'm saying a lot too, but he had no idea who Robert Crumb was. I was reading a comic, and it was one of Robert Crumb's. He was like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "This is my favorite American comic book artist." And I was like, "Oh, who is he?" I'm like, "It's Robert Crumb." I showed him the documentary, which is great, and I showed him the comments I have, which was good, and he fell in love with it. And granted, he might never have the level of appreciation that I have, because he's not a comic book artist. He might never get that far. He might never look into this man and see his backstory any more than what I showed him in the freaking documentary. He will probably never get that far. But that's one more thing that he knows. That's one more thing that he can appreciate. And artists, don't think you get away with things. Like, other creatives, don't think you can get away with it, with doing that to people who aren't in your field. I have a friend who's a dancer. I know almost nothing about musical theater, but my friend tells me things. When I ask him who his inspirations are and what his favorite things are, he tells me these things, and he shows me examples if I get even curiouser. Like, he shares with me. He opens me up into that, and I know more things, and I appreciate things more. And there's nothing better. A good example. Just a good example. I watch anime quite a bit, and I heard about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I knew what it was a little bit. I was like, oh, it's popular, right? But I never watched it or read it or anything for myself. One of my dear friends, took the time out to show me some JoJo. Stardust Crusaders. Now, I didn't like Stardust Crusaders. I like it now. I can hear you people booing. I like it now. But I didn't like it back then because I didn't see any of the other parts. But because they had turned me on to it, and they talk about JoJo so much, and they're my friend, and I like anime, and I can see even from what I saw, even though I didn't like it plot-wise, even from what I saw, I was like, I like this art style, I like the humor, and so I did research on my own. And I watched part 1, I watched Battle Tendency, and then going back to Stardust, I was like, oh man, I can appreciate this way more. And then the craziest part of all of that was it opened up my eyes to so many things in all the other series that I've watched that were making JoJo references, and I didn't know what they were. And there were so many times when I was watching Battle Tendency where I was just like, oh, I remember when the blah 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 series did this. That's what they were referencing it from. Oh. Like, it just feels good. Oh. I don't know. And it's just nice hearing what moves a person. What makes them drive. I don't want to say what gives them purpose. But just what makes them feel complete. Like, I can't imagine myself not doing this now. I can't imagine me not wanting to be an artist in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, I think I've ranted enough. I'll probably do more of these, actually. Talk to some other artists and just chill out and sketch around and see what we can get into, what kind of things we can talk about, because it's something I love, man. It's something I just have an intense love for, and I'd like to share it a little bit at a time. Alright, everyone. Later.